So my goal in doing this this video was really to just open people's eyes to the fact that this is an intentional movement. It's well planned out. It's intentionally being introduced and has been introduced in many sectors, from academia to, again, the medical and science field, to education, to pop culture, the church. I didn't really do much on the church. There was some slight mention, but really, you guys have heard about all of the stuff with the church. But it's really just a wake-up call for us to understand, because I can remember back in the 80s when the HIV, the AIDS scare had really blown up, and people were fighting to say, this is not a homosexual, a gay man's disease. And they trotted out Ryan White as the poster child for HIV and for education on HIV and how you could catch it and how you couldn't, and or contract it, and to dispel the myths about HIV. Really, that was emotional manipulation, and using a child to say, look, this isn't a bad thing. This isn't bad. Because you felt for Ryan White, and rightfully so. You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want any child to suffer in that way. But as the push has gone through the decades, through the years, for homosexuality, for example, earlier in the video we talked about how homosexuality and pedophilia were closely related. The activism for them was one, really, for the longest time, until the homosexual community decided that in order to further their agenda, they needed to dump the pedophiles. But we've heard all of these things like homosexuality is just about love. Homosexuality is between two people. Homosexuality is it's a sexual orientation. And what are we hearing? We have also heard for so long that homosexuality wasn't about pushing for pedophilia. It wasn't about bestiality. It wasn't this slippery slope that that all of these, right-wing conservative Christians or whatever are concerned about. And yet, what are the same arguments being used for pedophilia? It's between two consenting people. It's a private matter, although we're marching in the streets for this private matter. But it's about love, right? So I think it's important that we be careful to not let the little things go. It's that, frog in the boiling water analogy, that we've let little step after little step after little step go without saying anything. And the agenda is clear. It is purposeful, it is intentional, and we need to stand up and say it's not okay. We're going to be called haters. We're going to be called all the ists and isms and, all of the hate monikers. But there's an intentional agenda, and we need to respond, and we need to be proactive. We're kind of behind the scenes, or behind the 8-ball on that one, but we do. At this point, we need to be proactive. So anyway, thank you. I know this was long, but it's so important to just open people's eyes to what is out there. And actually, after I did all this research, I actually stumbled upon a 3-part series that is actually from another YouTuber that is entitled the same thing. And so I've only been able to access the 3rd part of that series, but it was phenomenal from what I saw. And so I will also put a link to his work. His work is much more in depth, and it's great. So I will put a link to his work as well. And he talks about some of the same stuff that I have. One of the things he actually highlighted was, I believe it's Miley Cyrus's baby talk video, where if you watch that, you can just see this strong connection between pedophilia and sexuality, where she is, through half of the video, she's posing as a baby in a diaper, and the other half of the video, she's, well, maybe not quite half, but a highly sexualized woman and seductive woman. So anyway, again, thank you. I appreciate it. And that's it. I will chat with you later.